Okay, and we're live for our first tech talk of the winter 2024 semester, quarter, not semester. We're not on a semester system.
We're off to a strong start.
Yeah, that's good. That's perfect. Okay, so Nick, you were going to lead the show today by showing us around the instructor Canvas app.
Yeah, absolutely. This kind of spawned out of a meeting with our Canvas rep. And I know it's kind of a fun way to start a tech talk. Uh, but what they were noticing was that a lot of our instructors were actually using the Canvas student app instead of the Canvas teacher app. Canvas teacher app is essentially an extension of the normal Canvas site that you use to make quizzes, assignments, content, talk to students, all that good stuff. But just kind of puts most of the features, I'm not going to say all the features, but most of the features you would want on your phone into this app. So it's kind of a nice way to quickly check things in Canvas. If there's something that you need to do while you're out and about, weird things are occurring, you need to edit a page, you need to grade a student assignment, or if you just prefer using your phone for things, which is kind of how I live my life, it's really nice to be able to just kind of sit down, not have a computer on my lap, and just use my phone to grade. It's got that capability. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking through today. Why you would use it, how you use it, and then just some final considerations when we talk about notifications. So what we're looking at right now is actually my phone. And right on my home screen, I got on the left is the Canvas teacher app, and that's the yellow Canvas icon. So if you are searching for this in whatever app store you have on your phone, or if you're using like a tablet, it'll be the same app on a tablet. But if you're searching for it, search Canvas teacher. There's only one version of it. It's the yellow Canvas icon. The Canvas student app, again, is going to have limited functionality since its sole purpose is to connect students to your course. Even as an instructor, you can access that, which I do sometimes just to be able to see what a course looks like on a student device. But in this case, our focus is going to be the Canvas teacher app. So I'm going to open that up just with a little tap. And once I get in there, it's usually going to take you by default to a dashboard that looks quite a bit like the dashboard you see on your computer. You have a list of all of your courses. It should be all of your active courses. So there shouldn't be anything that's essentially past enrollments or anything like that. Just what you have actively running currently. At the bottom, you've got 3 different sections that you can navigate. You've got the courses, which if you're first logging on will be your default. You have a to-do list, which is all of the items that you need to essentially grade or Canvas thinks you need to grade. That is going to sync up with what you see on the Canvas site. So that to-do list over on the right-hand side for an instructor is the same on the Canvas site as here in the teacher app. It's just a little bit easier to navigate here. And then finally, we have inbox messages. Same inbox messages that you would see on your computer. It all syncs. So that's kind of the benefit here. Anything you do here is going to sync up with your computer and vice versa. So what I do want to do, though, is I kind of want to start with what I believe most instructors would be using this space for. It isn't an exhaustive list, but it's going to be kind of the main thing. So the first element that I want to talk about is a functionality that I think is a little bit novel. For some instructors, they might be using their phone to take pictures in labs, to use their phone to create course material. So I think of this like if I'm an instructor who is who's teaching a lab and I want to send online students pictures of something that's happening in the lab, some example, something like that, or I want to record something from my phone, I can do that, and then I can use the Canvas teacher app to upload it into my Canvas files and then be able to use that in any of my courses. You can also think of it as if you need to take a photo of yourself for a course introduction or a syllabus or something like that, you can do that as well. So the way you do that, I'm assuming that I've already, excuse me,
Bless you.
Woo,
Bless
that was
you.
sneaking up on me. I'm assuming, you've already got the picture taken. All you're going to do is over on the top left-hand side of the screen is those 3 lines that opens up your account information, or at least the account information that you have access to on the teacher app, right? It's going to be a little bit more limited. You're not going to see the same things in there. But the first item in there is your files. So you can see all the files that you currently have attached to your account. If you ever need to add one, you can click the plus icon up in the top right, where you can add an additional folder for you to place or bucket files into. And then you have the add file option. And this is where you can just take a picture right here and there. You can record audio if you want, which is kind of cool. You can upload files directly from your device, and then you can access your photo library. So that'd be all the photos I've already taken. I'll spare you from seeing all the chaos that's on my phone, but essentially you have those options available to you. Once you add something in here, when you are inserting an image, a file, usually you start at the course level and can search through the course level files and things like that. But additionally, you have access to all of the files within your account. You can search through these and always have them, or always have access to them, kind of like your profile pictures or any of these unfiled images that I have here. So that's just one of these things that I find. It's like I hear instructors emailing themselves files or emailing themselves images from their phone. This just kind of speeds that process up, and then you have access to it here on your phone, but also on your computer.
Yeah, that's nice and simple.
Yeah, and I just kind of like the simplicity of it. Well said. So then the next thing that I view this app as being beneficial for is helping you grade. And it's not like going to make that process more efficient or easier, right? Grading is always going to be a slog, but for me personally, I really like the way the to-do list, so that's that second item, is laid out in here. And the beauty of this as well is, for example, you'll see I've got 2 to-dos up at the top. I've got some stuff that Melanie was testing out in her demo course. I don't really want that notification. I can swipe to the right and select done. Let's make sure, there we go. Swipe to the right, done. And that will remove it from my to-do list. So I can really quickly kind of navigate and push things away that I don't need to do or that aren't part of my normal course load. That's really helpful, at least for me, keeping this view really clean. And then the benefit here is I can also see, oh, here's an assignment that was due Friday, March 22nd, or is going to be due Friday, March 22nd, and has 1 submission that needs to be graded. That's for our faculty development course. Looks like somebody submitted something for our 1-week flex lesson plan. Awesome. So I could click in there and I could see that. Going on a little bit further, there's other items that I'll see, and I can see at the bottom, that little red icon to the right of the to-do, the number, that's how many items I have in here. That'll be individual, sorry, it won't be the number of individual items, but it'll be the number of individual items that need to be graded. So the full sum. So 1 needs grading, 1 needs grading, 2 needs grading. That'd be 4 items on the to-do list. So for example, let's go down to this little demo assignment so you can kind of see what that view looks like. So I'll click into the assignment here from the to-do list. I can also get to it from a course. Here I can see Caleb has submitted something to the assignment. What you will find is that it's got multiple submissions. We'll see what that means later. But if you need to, you can search through multiple submissions if that's important. But it should be showing the most recent if that's the settings you have on that assignment. The thing to note is you don't have the full context right here in this view. You might have to go back to the course to do that. So really quickly, I'll show you what that looks like. If I jump to courses, demo course, the view is going to be slightly different. I can either go through modules if that assignment is in the modules and I want to grade it, or I can go to assignments. There's the give me compliments, and then I can see the description there. So you can essentially go through 2 different ways, just like in standard computer desktop Canvas. But again, that benefit of the to-do list, it's just a little bit easier to navigate or get there quickly. So then let's say I want to get back to Caleb's submission. I've gone through this assignments level or assignments tool. I can see that I've got submissions, 0 were graded, 2 needs grading, 0 are not submitted. I can click the 2 needs grading, and then I can see who has all submitted versus who has not submitted yet. I can filter that list by essentially not submitted needs submission, which can also be helpful if I need to do any sort of communication to these students. I can click the message icon in the top right and then be able to send a message to everybody that is currently showing. Just kind of a fun feature. Let's jump back into Caleb's. I can see Caleb has sent me a very nice compliment. I didn't ask him to do this at all. I actually just kind of showed up in my court. It's so weird how that happens. But say I need to grade it, I click the little grades option down in the bottom left. And if I've got a rubric, it's going to show me that rubric. So here, for example, my first criteria is hair. If I view the long description, I can remind myself what my criteria was. Obviously, it's a little bit different than the actual view you would see on the Canvas site, because again, you're opening things up. You don't have the full view available to you. So it's going to be a lot easier for simpler assignments, things that don't need or aren't as intensive, or things that you have, paper rubrics that you would have to the side. Imagine you're sitting on the couch in the evening and you're just trying to run through your grading, have the app open in one hand, pen and paper if that's your style, or computer in the other hand if that's important to you. But here I just find this to be kind of a nice view. And then when I'm ready, I can give whatever assigned point value for that piece of the rubric, and then it will just continually update. And since I've selected that this rubric will be used for grading, the grade will update automatically as I go. So there we go. Let's remind myself. Oh yeah, compliment includes admiration for my skills as an instructional designer. Yep, he did it. That's a good job. I do see a little bit of a backhanded compliment in there, but don't worry about it. And then, did he acknowledge my coolness? Let's go down here.
He did.
Right. I think he even mentioned a couple. Yeah, Brad Tugler, solid and righteous. That's great. Somebody read the rubric. Perfect. So then I've completed that, I've submitted that. Eventually my to-do list will update that I've graded him, given him his grade. I can also go into the comments. Oh, these are old comments from, oh, that's my comment library. That's fine. You can access your comment library using that little blue button over on the right, which I actually had missed before. So just be careful when you're clicking around, because you'll end up in the wrong spot like that. And then you can send, just like what I said earlier, it'll sync with your normal Canvas instance. Say, good job. Keep up. Pretty good. Schmoozing? I believe that's how you spell schmoozing. There we go. All right. So that is how you would grade in a nutshell. Again, the view isn't going to be fully expansive. It's going to be kind of a little bit, I guess I call it kind of a claustrophobic view. You're fitting a lot of content in there, especially if it's a big assignment, especially in the rubric, going through those items. So again, probably gonna be a lot easier on simpler stuff. And again, when you're on the go and you're just thinking about it, want to take a little bit of the top off of that to-do list, you can kind of jump in here and do that. So with that, I'm also going to double check. Yeah, we've got feedback, rubrics, comments, all come in that submission space. Again, I came through the assignment. I'm going to jump back all the way to that main course view, all those course tiles. And I will just mention quickly, or I should say briefly, up in the top right is a little tools icon or cog. If I click that, it's going to open up some really simple dashboard settings. And right now I've got it set as a grid. Some people might prefer a list view. Some people might prefer that they have the overlay over their course styles. I usually keep mine off just for my personal preference, but you can change that really quickly. And then if I come over to the left-hand side, those three lines that bring me to kind of my account settings, I jump down to settings a little bit further. And then I can also change the landing page that I'm viewing. So if I'm a person that just prefers to use the to-do list, that's the only reason I'm in here, just to get that stuff graded, you can totally do that. If I prefer just to use it to keep track of my inbox, because again, students are always sending messages probably outside of the time that we're actually in front of a computer, I can also have it set that way. And then that leads me to the topic of inbox messaging, communicating with students in this space. Again, the actual course itself is going to be a lot more limited. You'll even notice that doesn't have a grades view anywhere in the navigation here. So when you're thinking about what you're using the space for, again, it's not going to be that big. You're doing those large jobs of, getting grades ready at the end of the term or anything like that. But the reason I mentioned that is because I use like the message students who option a lot in Canvas. So, how many students haven't turned this in yet? I look in the grade book, I use that tool, and then it sends them a message. Oh, Caleb, Melanie, hey, I noticed you didn't have your assignment submitted yet. The due date is in a couple of days, just checking and see if everything's all right. That is a little bit harder to do in this space because you don't have access to, again, the grade book and the tools that it has. So I want to come back to essentially that assignment view that I was in. If I go to the example quiz, for example, I can go into like the not submitted category. And again, I showed this briefly, but if I was going to communicate to all the students that haven't submitted, I would click that little icon in the top right. How it's been filtered, it will only include the students essentially that meet that criteria in that message. That would be the equivalent of the message students who. And then if I come back, I also have the inbox right there available if I need it. If I need to send a message to a specific course, I click the little plus icon on the top right, select a course, choose which one I want to use. Here's my demo course. I can select who. Oh, I think here it's because all of the people are set. It's teachers in my course. But I would be able to then interact with students that way if I needed to send off a quick message. The other way to do that would be if I jump into a course, I still have the ability to make announcements. There's only a couple of things you can actually build from scratch in the teacher app, and it's announcements, discussion boards, and pages. You can edit some stuff in the assignments and some stuff in the quizzes, but you're not going to be able to make them from scratch. So for example, here I can add a new announcement. It's going to have the same options as it will on the desktop site, just looking a little bit different. What section I'm posting it to, if I need a delay posting, allowing users to comment. There's the title, the description, all that's going to be the same. When I click done, it'll send it out just like a standard announcement. And then same with discussions, you'd probably see that as well. So if you're going to be communicating with students this way, that was a standard practice, like you had an open discussion board that students ask questions to. For example, if this was that, I would be able to jump in here and reply to it, things like that. But another caveat, if I'm making a discussion, I can't make it a graded discussion. I can only just make a standard discussion. Okay. And then while we're on the topic of things that we can create, again, you can make, oops, not people, but you can make pages if you need to. Again, if this is a standard communication style in your course, you make pages or informational pages for your students, you can add them here. However, the thing to note is that it's going to be really limited. You'll notice you only have a title. You can make content and add links to it, but it's, again, really limited. You can set it to be published, set it as your front page. Those are kind of the only two things you can do to put it in front of your students. If you're going to be creating some sort of announcement or something for the students here. Because one of the reasons that this is a little bit funky is if I go to modules, you'll notice I can't add anything to this module. I can't remove the module. I can't do anything to it. I can only click into the items that the students have access to. You cannot adjust modules in the teacher app. So again, if you're doing some heavy editing, if you're building a course out, teacher app isn't going to be really able to get you there. It's only those quick fixes, those kind of smaller communication tasks, but it's not going to be big elements like that.
So if you create a page, sorry if you said this, if you create a new page, where does it go? Is it just sitting only within your pages? It doesn't go into any modules?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. And you'll notice, for example, here I've got my front page. I can set things as a front page within this view. And I think the idea is that, oh, I need to update my front page, let students know something about the course or something like that. That's my only way to get in front of them. And usually instructors have a pretty standard and built out front page. So I don't imagine that most instructors will be using that tool. But you can jot down ideas here. It'll be in your Canvas. You can keep it unpublished, and then you could pull it back and build it out further. You know, once you get to your computer, that's another option if that's kind of how you process this stuff. Need to write it down just in a quick page.
Yeah.
Cool, got it. Then I can make something out of it later on.
Nick, I noticed that the attendance tool is visible in the course there. I'm curious what that looks like in the mobile app.
There we go.
Oh,
So I think the way that the attendance tool ends up populating, so if you've got it in your course, what it will end up doing is just being a really easy, hopefully an easy way to kind of mark off attendance. It's so much cleaner
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
than the actual attendance tool. I don't know if you've used it in
yeah.
desktop site.
I like that a lot, actually. That is actually really cool. That's
That could
yeah,
be a
you're
good use.
that is better than the desktop attendance tool. So if you have attendance turned on in your course and have it set up as the attendance assignment, this seems like a great way to do that in your class. You don't have to get on the computer and open up the roster. You just kind of do it on your phone, and then you continue with your classroom time. That's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, and one thing to note is that you'll always be looking at the attendance of the day you open it, but you can, of course, switch things around and you can very quickly
Okay.
navigate that way. And I don't know if you saw, but that mark all as present
Mhm.
is that's just handy. That was so quick. So
Yeah, that's super
it's one of
slick.
the things where everybody's there. Done deal.
And then another thing that I noticed was in the app settings, in your account settings, there was a push notifications setting.
Yes. So if we're feeling, oh yeah, we're good on time. So let's cover it. With the phone, I know that there's probably a lot of concerns about notifications. Is this going to be blowing up my phone? I already get 1,000 emails from my students. I don't really want to have that hassle here on the thing that's living in my pocket. So when you start this, oh, thank you, Caleb. Caleb just sent out the evaluation form for the Tech Talk. But when you start using the teacher app, I'm glad Caleb brought it up. Probably one of the most important things to do is to set your push notifications early. And I can't stress that enough, because I'm in like 6 different courses. My phone just blew up the moment I downloaded this, like roughly 100 notifications. It was crazy. So, and that was because I never set my push notifications. So what that means is any notification that would actually be sent and show up kind of like a text message on your phone or device. So usually the things I would have off, probably don't need to worry about announcements, since I'm the one sending them out for my courses. If you are part of professional development courses, that might be another story. I don't need to worry about changing due dates, because again, I might be doing that on the phone. So again, something that you might be able to edit depending on the assignment, but it's going to send you a notification to your phone the moment you do it. It's good to have that off. Grading, I won't have to worry about here. Invitations, that'd be like invitations to different courses. That might actually be kind of beneficial. You can just accept it right there on your phone. Submission comments, that's something I would keep on there for sure. Conversation messages, that's going to be your inbox messages. That's awesome. Keep that on there. That's going to be kind of the big things that I would say you would need or have show up in there. And then if you're using scheduling in Canvas, like calendar, scheduled calendar events for, say, Zoom sessions or things like that, I would keep it on. Most of the time, you aren't going to get any false positive notifications, as I would call it, just by having those on. But that's essentially how I would kind of tackle the push notifications. Again, this is mostly making sure I catch any communications from students, which again are going to be far fewer than anytime somebody submits an assignment or something like that.
And are these settings global, or can you do it course by course?
At least here, this is going to be global. I believe when you're back on your desktop, you will be able to do that. That's the same for the email notifications. You can actually reset your email notifications from your phone. But again, these are going to be what's being sent to your school email or whatever your preferred email is for managing your courses. But again, it's going to be limited, like you said, Melanie. It doesn't have course by course specific. I guess it doesn't have the ability to section those notifications out that way.
Okay.
Cool. That's helpful.
So with that, I'm gonna click done. Is there any questions that anybody has while we got you here? All right. Well, at any time, you can always ask us if you have any questions. If you're trying to work this into your kind of like, I guess, your course management workflow, please let us know if you're running into any issues and we can kind of help iron things out. And again, there's going to be some things that you won't be able to do, like you're not making those big changes to the course, but nice for quick editing. And especially if you get those notifications under control, can hopefully improve quality of life. So with that, I think we'll let you go. We'll hang around.
Cameron's got a hand up.
Yeah,
Comment.
it seems to be one of the biggest things is that notification right now, that getting immediate notifications from students of emails.
I think that's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, I have all mine forwarded to my campus email, but I don't get buzzed every time an email goes in, and I don't want to.
Right.
But this might be a way to get buzzed when a student only contacts me.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that about it. I really am surprised by the attendance tool version in the mobile app. I think that's really slick if that's a tool that you use in your class. And then I also just really like it as a easy, quickly accessible grading workflow. If I'm sitting in a coffee shop and waiting for my coffee, I might want to take 5 minutes and knock out a couple of student submission grades and get those out of my way. If I'm sitting on the couch at night watching TV, I can casually do some grading and get it done and not have nearly as much to do later when I get on my computer and do my work time. So I think there's a lot of benefit there if that fits into somebody's workflow.
I think some of you need to work on your work-life balance.
That's true. That's true. I'm not advocating that you do all your grading at night while you're watching TV, but if you wanted to, this is easier than having a laptop on your lap or at your desktop computer.
What you should have said, Caleb, is grading while in a meeting. You can have your phone under the table. And then
that's just good.
That's the benefit of a good rubric, right? If you're going to be during a meeting, you want to make sure you're doing it right really quickly. So yeah.
Yep.
That's smart multitasking. Yep.
Yeah, that's just good governance of your resources, right? That's good stewardship of resources if you are doing two things at once during a meeting.
So on that beautiful note, it's always a pleasure to see you all. Let us know if you've got any questions and if there's anything you want us to cover. We've got that form, that evaluation that Caleb sent. So with that, have a good one. Enjoy.
We will see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
And what's coming up next week?
Oh, next week we are doing putting students in the driver's seat with Canvas pages, because yes, you can create pages all you want as an instructor, but you can also change a setting in pages to allow students to edit and contribute to pages. And we'll explore that a little bit.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
On the third try, I'll let you go.
All right.
See ya.